and by far the smallest. Her feathers were not as shiny as the others. Her wings weren't the fastest, but her eyes saw clearly, and her heart beat with softness. Other birds didn't pay her much attention. Too quiet, the parrot would squawk. Too soft, the crow would mutter. But Nina didn't mind. She rose early, flew low, and always noticed what others didn't. Wilting leaves, cracked stones, silent cries. One dry season, longer than any before, came like an uninvited guest and refused to leave. The rivers dried into brown lines. Trees bent with thirst. Even the sky looked pale, as though it had run out of tears. The animals grew desperate. The elephant dug holes in search of water. The tortoise retreated into its shell. Birds flew far in search of clouds, but none returned with news of rain. Then, one afternoon, a young antelope named Ozioma collapsed near the edge of the forest. She had wandered too far from her herd, chasing the scent of roots. Her legs buckled. Her throat cracked with dryness. She lay still beneath a wilting tree, her breath faint. The monkeys saw her from the treetops and shook their heads. "She won't make it," one whispered. "We can't help her," said another. But Nina saw something else. She saw a heartbeat, and that was enough. She fluttered down quietly and light. She perched on a rock near Ozima's head. The antelope opened one eye, then closed it again. "I'll bring water," Nina said. No one heard her. No one believed her. She flew off. Not far, but far enough. Past the thirsty shrubs, over cracked earth, toward the mountain where moss still grew. She remembered seeing a patch of green 3 weeks ago, hidden in shade. It took her half the afternoon. When she reached the mossy stones, she found a trickle, a whisper of water, sliding between rocks. Not enough to fill a beak, but enough to matter. She looked around and saw a wide leaf, curled gently like a bowl. She tugged it loose, pressed it against the wet stones, and waited. The leaf soaked in drops slowly, almost painfully. When it was full enough to shimmer, she lifted it gently in her beak and began the flight back. The wind resisted her. The sun mocked her. The leaf dripped. She paused 3 times, once in a tree, once on a fence post, once on a dead termite mound. But she didn't drop the leaf. By the time she reached Ozioma, the sun was kissing the horizon. The antelope hadn't moved. Nina landed beside her, lowered the leaf, and tilted it toward her lips. A few drops fell. Ozioma's tongue moved. Then her eyes opened. Not wide, but just enough. She blinked, and then she breathed. Nina stayed with her all night. She flew back again the next day and the next, bringing more water, leaf by leaf. Soon, The other animals noticed. They watched from trees and caves silently. Then something changed. The parrot flew off and came back with berries. The tortoise crawled over with soaked cloths from the well near the farmer's hut. Even the monkeys gathered leaves to shade her. Together, they helped Ozioma heal. By the time the first rain returned, soft and unsure, Ozioma was standing again. She walked slowly, like one learning her legs all over. But she walked. The animals gathered in a quiet circle. And for the first time, the owl said, "It was not the strongest who saved her, not the fastest. It was the one who noticed." Nina fluffed her feathers and said nothing. She didn't need to. You are surrounded by a calming green light. Allow the healing energy to wrap around you. Know that you can slow down your breathing and envision this healing light energy whenever you need to. Let's rest a moment in the healing green light. The moral to the story of the dove who carried water in a leaf is this: even the smallest effort can bring life to someone in need. Real courage is found in quiet, consistent kindness. And when others watch you do good, it awakens the goodness in them too. Namaste.